What's up, hobby friends, and welcome to my vlog video for the month of June, covering what I painted in the previous month of May. My focus for May was to finish off another commission for my client and then complete my entire Marvel backlog. Shatterpoint is more or less right around the corner. So as of recording, it is June 1st. The game officially comes out tomorrow, and a little bit more on that in a bit. But I wanted to make sure that I completed all of my backlog and I didn't have anything outstanding, at least for one game system or basically one big project, and really only have to balance working on my Seraphon and my Shatterpoint simultaneously. I'm not really good with multitasking and having too many projects on the go at once. It weighs on me mentally. I guess it just lives rent-free in the back of my mind. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to at least clear a bit off of my plate. So in terms of the commission, I painted a Modok, Ulik, Beta Ray Bill, 2 Emma Frost, so the regular version and the crystal version, as well as a Psylocke for my client. He had an event that he wanted to go to, I think it was like early mid-June, and I wanted to make sure that I got these models done in time earlier on in the month so that I could ship them to him just through regular post, not through courier, save him some money that way and make sure that he had those models in time for his event. A lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed working on Modok in particular, and I definitely want to pick him up at some point for my own collection. For my personal models, and so completing my backlog, I had Rhino, Hawkeye, War Machine, Cable, Nebula, and Gamora. A lot of these models were as a result of picking up dual kits. Cable, War Machine, and Hawkeye in particular are models I don't use a lot. I don't play a lot of Avengers. I don't play X-Force a lot. But they're cool models, and I wanted to paint them just for completion's sake. Nebula and Gamora were to round out my black order, give myself some lower threat costs, in particular with Nebula. And then Rhino, really cool model. Painting him was a lot of fun. I pretty much just completed all of that, I think, with about a week to spare, half a week to spare. And so I also started working on a slan for my Seraphon as I was waiting for the Shatterpoint models to be released. So I think this slan video tutorial that I'm recording will go on my Patreon. And then moving forward for the next few months, I'm probably going to be focused completely on Shatterpoint. I will dabble in my Seraphon continuously as it is my Adepticon project. And then I've been playing a lot of games with my Junk Force Overlords. I'll be attending a few tournaments, both local as well as a couple of ones out of town. I think my next big one is going to be mid-August for Capital City Bloodbath. And so I will be periodically working on a display board for that army as well. I kind of still want to bring them to Adepticon for next year, but depending on the schedule of the events that come out, if there is stuff from Marvel or Shatterpoint I want to play in, that may take a priority in addition to playing Seraphon for the Adepticon team tournament. So we'll see how it goes. I still would like to bring them to Adepticon, but I know it is early as of recording. You will see this video on June 2nd, which I guess is the official release date. I did end up picking up Shatterpoint. So I picked up the core box, I picked up the Dooku box as well as the Obi-Wan box, and that'll pretty much be my focus for the next 2 months, I want to say. I want to make sure that I finish up the core box as fast as possible. I know that they're scheduling a release for Shatterpoint every single month. I think the Grievous box comes out next month, so I want to make sure that I've gotten most of those models done before picking up new kits. I don't want to run into the case like I did with Marvel where I'm continuously buying models, but my backlog is just growing and growing and growing because I can't finish them off in time. So I want to make sure that I stay on top of this and I don't overwhelm myself like I did with Marvel. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of content creation. Like I mentioned, the video for the slan will be my Patreon video for the month. And then I already have a couple of tutorials recorded. I just need to edit them. So I believe Hawkeye and as I consult my book. Yeah, so Hawkeye and Beta Ray Bill are going to be on YouTube for this month, and then I will be painting Shatterpoints. I'll probably include because I am starting with the droids first, I'll probably do the B1 battle droids as the YouTube tutorial, and then for the month of July and moving forward, I'll be mixing tutorials for both Patreon and YouTube on the various models. I'll probably combine a couple of them. So the Clan Krees along with Bo-Katan will be one tutorial set because it's the same recipe for all of them. I think the Mandalorians, the evil Mandalorians, I don't know what they're called, will be one tutorial set. So Gar Saxon and his evil Mandalorians will be one set as well. And then I really want to make sure that I cover each of the individual heroes. The challenge for me right now is figuring out how to paint the lightsabers, as well as the basing scheme that I want to do. I think a lot of it's going to be in object source lighting, back on the point of lightsabers. So I think that'll be an interesting challenge to work through. I think the first Force wielder I'll paint is Ahsoka Tano, the Padawan. And I want to avoid the issue where I was having with my Marvel models where the bases took a long time to paint and actually, in some cases, detracted from my enjoyment of the models just because they took so long to do. And I may want to go with something a little bit simpler for my Shatterpoint stuff. I'm debating between the Feed Palace for Naboo, because I'm also thinking forward for a display board, or just in terms of like a gaming table that I'm going to make. I want it themed for my collection, so I'm gravitating between the Feed Palace for Naboo, or either Tatooine or Jeddah, something a little bit more desert. I'm not quite sure yet. So the problem I have is with Naboo, it ends up being another urban environment, and while I think the board could be very, very cool, the bases come pre-textured or pre-sculpted with both urban elements as well as like sand or ground elements, and so that'll be difficult. It'll involve a lot more work if I'm not 3D printing it to actually make urban bases. So I think for expediency, I may just end up going more for a desert base. I'd also thought about doing something like Endor, or like a forest themed, or like a jungle theme, but I'm already doing that for my Seraphon, so I don't want to double dip on a similar basing scheme on two simultaneous projects. But that may still be the case. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there it is. That's my vlog for the month. A little bit rambly, I'm going to be honest. I apologize. I'm sort of all over the place right now. But to sum up, completed my Marvel stuff, no backlog, starting Shatterpoint, working on Seraphon simultaneously, and then I will be doing a display board for my Junk Force. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you give it a like and subscribe for more awesome weekly content. If you want to check out my other social media platforms, I'll make sure to have links in the video description below. And as always, until next time, happy hobbying.